everyone, to another episode of My World with Stories. I'm your host, Brooke, and today we have a very special guest. She's been seen in so many, including Remember the Titans, Jarhead, Dawson's Creek, CSI Miami, and so many more. She's best known for starring in one of the most highly anticipated new dramas with History Channel's military series, Six, that launched in 2017. She's also been seen in a bunch of Lifetime movies, which I have had the pleasure of watching myself, such as Saving My Baby, The Secret Life of a Celebrity Surrogate, and her resume just keeps on going. She's also an author, a podcaster of The Secret Life, which there's also a novel and a podcast, and she's a trauma specialist coach as well, and a director and producer. Oh my God, the resume is huge. So I'm so excited to welcome Brianne Davis.
Hi, thank you for having.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. Oh my gosh. All right. So, can you kind of like introduce yourself and like who you are? And, I know I gave like a little introduction, but,
Yeah.
maybe, something else.
Yeah, I mean, I would say when you said everything, I'm like, man, I have been around. I think, having a 20-year career in Hollywood and being in like I think 68 different things at least, just that's like movies and television. And now that I'm like in the mental health field and working with addicts and sex and love addicts, it's like I do want to say it's like you don't ever have to stick to one career. Like in a lifetime, it's 3 to 7 different careers a human has in the lifetime. So if anyone's listening and they don't know what they're doing, just like go with the flow and then you'll know when to pivot. The one thing I will say is when you know things aren't meant anymore, like because someone's like, why did you quit acting career? You just got off six. Because it didn't fit anymore. And so the book then came to fruition, then the job and all. It's just like, just go with the flow of life. Be willing to pivot and try something new and be uncomfortable in the unknown because that's where the growth and the beauty of life is. So that I just want to say. So I'm
Yeah.
so glad I've pivoted so many times in my life.
Oh my gosh, you're incredible. So, my first question, well, my first like real question is, you're so like, how did you get like into this crazy industry? Because I was reading like some of your bio, and you started like at 12. Like that is
Yeah.
so young to get into this industry. So like, how did you get into that like world?
So I think because I have dyslexia and I have HD, so school was really hard for me. So I didn't enjoy school. I like learning, but I didn't like how school ran. So how I actually functioned and survived in my childhood and where I grew up with my family is I started playing roles very young, truly. Like I would be acting out roles, I would be playing them in my bedroom, I would be saying scenarios where you do not have to be yourself. You're always somebody else. So when I got an opportunity to do a short film when I was younger, there was no money. So it gave me a chance to like put my own angst and lack of identity and lack of self-worth into a character. So I think it really helped me as a young person being lost. Does that make sense? So
Oh,
I put it into another character. So then the more I learned about characters, the more I got connected to myself.
yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Now, I think about like 12 years old. Like, that is so young to get into
Mhm.
this business. Um,
Mhm.
Crazy. All right. So you did your first speaking role in Remember the Titans.
Mhm.
What did that feel like, for the first time, like actually like, having a speaking role and having people like hear you and you're getting to act? Like, what was that like?
Well, it's crazy because I didn't audition for that. What I did is I auditioned because remember the Titans came into Atlanta, and I remember to play a rival cheerleader, and so I went and auditioned for that, and there was no speaking. It was just like play a cheerleader in the background. As soon as I got on set, it was like the whole energy of set is like family, and everybody's creating something together, and it's an instant, almost like a meshment of energy, which is not healthy in a way
Yeah.
for someone that comes from a toxic background. But I needed it in that time. And I remember being on set and we had to shoot from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. So it was all night shoots, which is brutal. but I did it for like a month and I loved it. It was like I felt so alive and a part of something bigger than me. So then when they were like, "Oh, can we need someone to say?" It was like one line and they were like, "Oh, can you do it?" And so I got bumped up to like get paid a little bit more and I got to say it and I was so nervous. I was like literally sweating everywhere, I think, and it was like but I was proud of myself. So, but it got cut out of the movie, which was so sad. See me, but the line got cut out. So there's disappointment. I felt the disappointment. The first big movie and then the disappointment of the industry. So I think that set me up for like all the disappointments later.
Yeah. No, but that's really good that like you got to do that. Oh my gosh. Did you like know maybe well maybe at 12, but did you like know at that, you know, that young age or even doing that show particularly that like this was something you really wanted to do? Like how'd you know that like this was your calling?
Yeah, I didn't. Even at that age, it was just like I said, escaping out of self and creating a character and being someone else. Not until I did Dawson's Creek and had to like drive there and audition and then drive home, which was like I think 8-hour trip between Wilmington and Atlanta. I think it's like I can't remember off the top of my head, but not until I did that part did I realize, oh, I can make this a career. I didn't have like cheerleaders in my, even though they showed up for me as parents, do not in the way where I can do this. So I think it was mostly that I chose Dawson's Creek and then I didn't want to go to college. I wasn't interested in going to college.
Mhm.
Wasn't interested. So then I was like, I'm off to Hollywood, which is a whole other experience than college.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Um, so something like six happens,
Mhm.
which is so many years later. So like, was that like a moment when you like really realized like, oh my God, I'm a thing. Like I do this for a living. Like, was that
Mhm.
the moment that you realized?
No, because I'll tell you why. So you would think that would be the moment that you were like, aha, I've made it. I'm have a name. People see me more and recognize me. No, it's not. It's not like that. What actually happens is you get to this moment you think you've been waiting for. Like you get the show, you get the part, you get the award, whatever it is. And then it's almost like, this is it? This is it? Wait, I thought it was gonna feel different, which is probably healthy where you're like, this didn't feel different.
Mhm.
Because if you understand, I was a working actor. I worked for 20 years solid. So it was like a build up. And most actors you talk to, it doesn't happen like that. So you don't get this instant gratification. I've made it.
Mhm.
No, it's like a build up and then you get there and you're like, "Oh, it doesn't fill me like
Yeah.
I thought it would."
Mhm.
But I was proud of myself, but it wasn't this, aha, you're the best. It wasn't like that.
Yeah. You've done like so many shows and films. Like, what is like a day in a life like for you in that territory?
Yes. So you wake up really early. You have to be there very early. Like you wake up at 3, you get there probably like 4:35. Then you shoot for 12 to 14 hours. It's a
Mhm.
lot of waiting around. You sit in your trailer. You're bored half the time. You can't lay down and take a nap because you just had all your makeup on and your hair done. So you can't lay and mess that up and fall asleep. So you're pretty much like sitting like this in your trailer. And you can watch TV, but nothing really because you're thinking of your lines of the day. Because normally you have about like 6 pages maybe of dialogue, 2 scenes. And so you have a lot of dialogue to remember. But you go in the hair and makeup trailer, people are all touching you. Everybody touches you, which is everybody's poking at you. So it's an invasive career, but you kind of go into a zone of yourself like, oh, you're like a prop. That's
Yeah.
the best I can think. You're a prop and you fit this in this scene and they only need you don't make any noise or make any come in a lot you until they call you and then you come in and do your job and then you go and leave and go home late at night.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. So that your time on set is not that long. It's waiting around a lot. So you got to get used to waiting around. You got to get used to, you have to have other hobbies. Like I'll show you. I like have these that paint thing where you like paint,
Oh, cool.
you know, so you bring hobbies with you. You work on other things. I worked on my book a lot. So you have to have other things that occupy your time in that time.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yeah, like it's such like a crazy process of how that all comes because people probably just assume, oh, that was nothing. Like there's long days, there's long hours. Um, yeah, like my best friend, she does like acting and stuff, and like the things that I hear, it's like crazy. But
Hmm.
at the end, you get an end result, and
Hmm.
it's really good to look at.
Yeah, but even the end result, it's like you play your part, even as a director, because I directed 2 films, full features.
Right.
As an actor, you don't have much say. I
Exactly.
loved being the director because you're more in control, but if you have producers down your back, that's not fun. But you get to like have a part in every part of the making of the movie or whatever you're producing. And then the actor, though, is such a small part. So a lot of actors I know, it's like they think they want this thing, but really they want to create bigger. So you're only in charge of your role, and then how they cut it, or the editor cuts it, or how the director directs you, and what takes they choose.
Mhm.
You have no say. So half the time when I see something I'm in, I never recognize myself ever. Like I don't say, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Um, Even though I look the same, I truly, it's like someone else is doing it. But when I even watch it, like, I'm like, oh, I didn't remember that choice I made. So you don't actually, by the time you see something, you have no idea how the project's going to look, what they're going to do with your character, how they're going to cut it. You just don't know anything. So you have to really let go and have no control over it. Hmm.
Huh. It's a crazy world.
It is crazy.
I've seen like multiple of you like your stuff and like actually like when my grandmother was around, she had Saving My Baby on it. I was like, I never like watched these movies like ever, and I was like, I like this. Like having you on, it's like it fills me up.
Oh, that's so sweet. Your grandma's with us.
So, how do you like keep the momentum going, like being in this business? Like, what
Mhm.
keeps you motivated?
Well, I think, like I said, finding other things that mentally stimulate you. Because after a while, after 20 years, every role I got was like the same.
Yeah.
They see you the same. Even when you're getting older, they see you the same. So I mean, I can close my eyes and literally say every crime show dialogue known to man. I could say every girl. I could say every, because I've done them so much. And it's like you cannot attach your worth to the career.
Right.
That's what I would say. Your job is not your worth. It's not your identity. It's not your sense of self. You cannot get it because you cannot, especially in the entertainment business, you cannot base that or you will be empty. So I always tell people and young people wanting to start, it's like fill your spirit with other creativity, art, like friends, get out in the world, do those things while you're pursuing your art because in your career, because you cannot just go full focus on that or you will burn out really fast. And I think that's why I've lasted so long is because I have so many other things that bring me purpose and helping people in my own recovery and community and my art, writing the books. It's like you have to fill your life completely. It's just like a part of your life. So that's how you sustain it and you don't take any rejection personal because it's not personal. I even tell people because when you direct a movie and you're casting, people come in and you're like, I love them. They just don't fit this part.
Yeah.
I love them, but they won't look good with that person. I love them. They don't match up. I love them. She doesn't look like that character. She would be good for something else down the line. So it's like it's so subjective and it has nothing to do with you. And you have to look at yourself like I'm a product. It's not my worth. It's
Yeah.
not me. So that would be the thing. Even if you go into any career, just look at it like you're a product to do a job and it's not who you are. So if I could tell my younger self that, I would tell my younger self that.
No, I love that because that kind of like takes me back to like an episode I did like 5 years ago on the podcast.
Mhm.
Because we're coming up on 5 years, and one of my very first guests was like, fill your cup with theater because I like did theater in high school. Like fill it up. So like you
Mhm.
saying that totally reminds me so much of that.
Yes, I wasn't into theater. I wasn't a theater person, but a lot of my friends, they all sing, they all do theater during different shows. I mean, majority of my friends do that. So, yes, fill your cup up with other things.
Yeah.
Painting, singing, drawing,
Mhm.
anything, writing, anything, do anything so everything's not in that because that is not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, you mentioned Dawson's Creek.
Mhm.
And I want to kind of touch upon that for a brief minute. Obviously James
Mhm.
just passed. So like what was that like, being on like a 90s show?
Oh
Like
my gosh, it was the best. I loved that show. It was that was such a great moment. That I think that was one of my most joyful moments. I only worked with him. So was such a kind, especially being the lead of a show that's so hard to carry on someone's back. Their hours are crazy. They work like 18 hours. So like the lead. And he was so kind, so sweet, so welcoming, talked to me because I've worked with a lot of big celebrities that are not kind. And you would think they're nice.
yeah.
I always say the nice ones are the ones you think are rude, gonna be rude, and the mean ones are the ones you are like, "Oh my God, do you love that?" And there's not. So I always say that like that's how you can tell people in the business, but he was so kind. Like he made me feel so welcome. He like even told me I think he said we had good job. We like went to Crafty together. So I'm loved that show. I was obsessed with that show. But the amazing thing is I remember being on it and I wasn't starstruck.
Yeah.
Like I just saw him as a human. So I think in that moment too, it was like, oh, nobody's better than me. I'm like a part of. Doesn't matter what number you are on the call sheet. It doesn't matter. Mhm.
Yeah. Everybody's all human.
Yeah. And doing a job because it's a job, truly.
So you're also an author and a podcaster as well, which I love coming from a podcast nerd. Um, so what made you like get into something like that that is totally different than what you've been doing?
Well, yeah. So we just hit a 300 episodes on our podcast, and it's so exciting. It was last week, and I was like so proud of producing, and we were like, "Yay for us!" So it was another way to create art. It was another way to help people. Like I said, I work in the mental health industry and I'm in the addiction world. And it was a way to give to the broader spectrum because I work with like a lot of one percenters that can't afford someone like me. So I wanted to be able to help people, even if they can't afford like a specialist or a coach. And I wanted to bring interesting information that can help them in a very non-judgmental, educational, not clinical. Because everybody's like, why aren't you a therapist? I'm like, I don't want to be a therapist. I have no interest talking to someone clinically. I want to talk human to human and really get their suffering and be able to share my suffering so we can connect. So it started out as really like, tell me your secret and I'll tell you mine. So every episode, I had to share a secret and they would come on and share their secret. They were anonymous, they were celebrities, people I've never even met. Some people I recorded that I didn't see them. I don't know their real name. Like, so that was really great. And I did that for 150 episodes. It was just like interviews with people about their secrets. And then I switched it because my schedule got so busy of me just bringing what I work with my clients on and helping people that can't get the extra help beyond therapy. So I'm really glad I did that. And then the book came to me, and the first book, Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict, came in the middle of the night. I woke up and I was like, oh my God. And the title came up. Before that, though, let me be very clear. I said I was dyslexic and I said I have ADHD and I hated school, right? So those are not author qualifications. And my husband, it was during the pandemic and he was like, hey, I think you should take this writing class. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Leave me alone. Like, go away. I'm not a writer. Leave me alone. I'm directing and producing. I'm acting. I'm not a writer. And then he kept doing it. He said it like 6 times. And finally, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just coming to me. You should do this 90-day writing class. And I'm like, fine. He's like, you don't have to tell anybody, just do it. It's not that much money. And I wrote the book in 45 days. 45 days. It was like the universe spoke through my husband to get me to take the writing class, and then the book just came out. It was crazy. So that's how the journey started. And then I started writing for like HuffPost article, Cosmo, and different things about toxic relationships. And then I wrote the second book that's out now right after the first book. So I've had it for a couple of years on the back burner. And then I have a third book coming out, which is about the 8 most toxic relationships and helps people get through them. So it's like if I didn't listen to my husband, so that's another thing. Like allow your spirit guides or whatever you want to think, God, universe, whatever higher power, whatever something bigger than you. Sometimes it comes through other people. Sometimes your next thing comes through other people. So don't poo-poo it like I did for a while. Just say yes.
I have a professor here, and he's like, just say yes to anything. Yes.
Mhm.
So that,
Truly.
yeah. So like, I'll have so many busy days, and I'm like, oh, one day I'm gonna regret it, but I'm like, I'm glad I'm
You're
doing.
young once, though. You truly are. So if I could say anything to someone that's younger, starting out, it's like you don't know what your past's going to be. You might have a vision, but sometimes your vision isn't where it's supposed to go. And that's okay too, because it could lead you to so many different things that your purpose, your talents, all of that. And don't ever compare yourself to somebody else's journey. That's like the killer of all dreams. Like, don't ever compare yourself to someone else because everybody has a different path.
That's so good. That like kind of like brings me to my next question. You mentioned that you're in the mental health field, you're a coach. So
Mhm.
like how do you like navigate like your own mental health versus someone else's? Like how do you like I guess you could say like how do you like self-care yourself?
Yeah, so that's a great question because I have about 10 sessions a day. So I work from 4 a.m. to like 4 in the afternoon sometimes. So I have a lot of sessions, and how I take care of myself is number one, I hold space for their energy. I don't take on anybody's energy. So whatever mood they come in, they're allowed their mood. And I think that helps that I have a 7-year-old because he has moods all the time and I don't take on anybody's energy. So it's like knowing what's theirs and then feeling if there's moments of empathy or compassion. And I love my job. That's why I love not being a therapist because I get to share my journey with people when I work with them. And I get to say, hey, I just got in a fight with my husband too. This is what we argued about. Here's how we work through it. Here's some tools. This doesn't, and then help them even with my daily life. And what I do is number one, I do like a lot of body work. So I shake off like other people's energy when I get off. Make sure I have a 10 minutes in between. Eat almost after every session. I walk outside in my backyard. I connect to like something bigger than me. I even exercise in my dress and heels like 10 minutes in between sometimes just to like get energy out. But the main thing is like when you have someone that's really hitting a bottom or has to go to rehab or will not get out of their own way, it's like I have to pause and go, my will for them to get better cannot be bigger than theirs. It cannot be because that's when I go into angst. That's when I go into deep sadness. That's when I go into like, I have to fix them. I'm failing them. Why aren't they taking it? And it goes into all that place where, so even with friendships, and if you're out there and you have friends that are toxic or family members that are toxic, you're trying to help them. I always say your will can't be bigger than theirs. Your wanting their life to be better cannot be bigger than theirs. And the moment you feel that,
Yeah.
pull back because if you lean in too much, you could go down with them.
Yeah.
So pull back. I always say, like, I can't fix them. They're on their journey. Maybe they have to hit this bottom. Maybe they have to almost die, AKA die in some way, spiritually die or die. You know what I'm saying? Get close because I am not their God. I don't tell them. I am not like a savior.
Yeah.
I'm a tool to help them get on the other side. That's it. So that's how I protect myself. And then I connect to my family
Yeah.
immediately. I'm a mom. I'm a wife, so I connect to them and give to get out of that, you
Yeah.
know?
Like in overall in like the world, like who like inspires you? Like, or is there like a specific like role model in your life? And like it could even be like not just for the film and like TV, but like also like just regularly. Like, is there someone that like inspires you?
Well, who actually inspires me in the industry, the one person I get like every time I read her interviews or she talks about her career is Jamie Lee Curtis. And I am not, it's not even that I love her movies, it's that I love her journey that she has gone the decades in this business. She feels like she hasn't lost herself. She's sober. She talks about her sobriety. She shares her experience, strength, and hope. So anytime I read about anything she's doing or the way she's pushed herself, she's very grounded too. I just adore her, right? And then if I'm going with like a director, I think Elizabeth Banks is amazing. I think she like does it all. She directs, she produces, she does it with her partner as well because I work with my husband a lot. And so her career I love, but I would say like in my life, that's harder because I have moments of inspiration, like my sponsor, my old sponsor, that's not great anymore. It's like I try not to attach any magical qualities to any humans. So I try to think like I like philosophers. I love Alan Watts. He's from the 1970s. I like going backwards to like old. I love Carl Jung. I love like the people that were like from a long time ago that made it through the dark times and like pass the message forward and they're not alive anymore because humans, they are flawed, number one. Number two, they never match up to what you think. And I just like anyone that's been through the darkness and gone to the other side and they're on the other side. Those people inspire me. So it could just be someone that was living on the street in a toxic marriage, blew up their life, and then now they're on the other side and they're like living this healthy, beautiful life. Those people inspire me the most.
What is like next for you? Like, it, or like, what can you say? But like, not so much of that also, but like, do you have
Mhm.
like any like things that you want to achieve, basically, also?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things on the well, right now there's a pitching a show for Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. We might be doing it in like a vertical series. So that's on the docket. Then I have a bunch of courses, video courses I'm putting out. The first one's about narcissism and codependent relationships. So that's coming out. I have my third book that's called The Eight Most Toxic Relationships. The titles, we're working on it. And then I have the third book for the Secret Life series. And then I go in, we're planning on like doing this thing where we teach rehabs about sex and love addiction because there's no rehabs for love addiction and sex and love addiction. So I have so many things in the work, but I don't know what's next, And I'm just like doing every day, doing something different. And I'm willing to go wherever it pivots. But all those things are like on the horizon. So it's very many exciting things. I just don't know what's going to be the next step
Oh.
or something I didn't even name.
It could be
Yeah,
like next week you could have something completely different.
completely different.
So before we wrap up, like, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you just want to share or just
Mhm.
whatever?
Well, I think the main thing I want to share is like with my new book out, Becoming My Own Effing Soulmate. I love it. It's like it's better than the first one. It really tells about how falling in love with yourself is most important and the steps, and there's a lot of like helpful steps in it through the fiction character of Roxanne. So I made it really fun to read and so much like hilarious moments and embarrassing moments, but you learn something in every chapter, and that's what I'm really proud of. And it's getting so many good reviews, and I'm just so grateful. So I think that's the most important, that if you're struggling in a toxic relationship, you don't know what you need or want, and your self-worth is low, or you don't have a sense of self. That book has been really helping people, so I'm really proud of it, and that it's out now, and I'm really excited.
Where could people follow you if they want to stay up to date with you and all your amazing stuff?
Well, you can go to my just website, briannedavis.com, that has all acting and reels and all that project stuff. And then I have briannedaviscoach.com, which says all the work I do with people and my clients. And then you can get the book at Amazon or go to at the Brianne Davis at Instagram. And then I have Secret Life at Secret Life Novel, at Secret Life Podcast. And then TikTok, it's the Brianne Davis. So I put everything out on all those platforms and you can reach me. And if anybody has any questions, I'll answer questions because I have a lot of questions about, if toxic stuff or needing help with something or resources. So if anything resonates, you can, need a resource, let me know.
Well, thank you. You were so incredible, and I love everything that you said, and like all the advice that you gave as well was cherry on top.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much for listening and watching to My World with Stories podcast. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. To stay up to date, you can follow My World with Stories podcast on both Facebook